student friends. Today in this English class we will talk about a short story written by Poornachandra Tejaswi and which is for first PU of Karnataka State Board syllabus. And students, please keep the text open and listen to this video. The writer named Poornachandra Tejaswi is a prominent Kannada writer, is a novelist, photographer, ornithologist, publisher, painter and environmentalist. So he made a great impression on Navya Sahitya of Kannada literature period, and he is known for different genres of writing. In the early stages, his writings were belongs to the short stories, and later moved into novels and essays also. And he has a distinguished style of writing which has heralded a new era in the entire Kannada literature. The present chapter, the short story around a medicinal creeper, is originally written in Kannada language, and later it is being translated to English by Sri K.M. Srinivasagowda. And now, so open page number 916 and just follow what I keep on reading the things. This is the story of an unusual medicinal creeper. There were so many stories about this creeper, some true, some imaginary, some totally false. To go beyond these stories and learn some facts about these plants took me almost 20 years. So there is a pronoun which is me here in this paragraph. So that me stands for the writer. So what it shows first person narration. The whole story is narrated in a first person. So that means the writer is also a part of this story. Okay, so and the opening line, when you just see that this is the story of an unusual medicinal creeper. So the writer himself says that it is a story about a creeper. And what kind of a creeper? It is unusual, so which is not usually found, so which is not commonly found across the region. So that's how it goes on. And there were so many stories about this creeper. So this creeper has not only one version of a story, but plenty of stories about this and how these stories are. So he says that some of the stories are true, some of the stories are imaginary, and some are totally false. So it belongs to all these three categories. One is a truth of the statements, and some as an imaginary, and the third one is completely false, a fabricated one. To go beyond these stories, to learn some facts about these plants, it took me almost 20 years. So that is what I think the author has spent almost 20 years to know about this medicinal creeper. So let us just see that how it keeps unfolding the story. A coffee seed bed has to be protected from the sun by putting up a shade over it. Once we were erecting a bamboo frame for such a shade, and we needed everything with which we could tie the cane piece placed across the frame. So this is what you could see, that in a Malnad region, in the hilly Malnad region, so the coffee planters, they have to protect the coffee seeds from the falling of direct sunlight. For that, they have to create a shade. For creating a shade, they have to erect bamboo sticks and then place something on the top of it. So for which they were searching for, to tie these bamboo sticks, they were searching for a thread. That is what I think. So we went, Sanna, to get some creepers from the forest. That's what he says. So he sent, the author sent a person is employed there in the coffee plant, so coffee plantation, and he sent that fellow Sanna to get some creepers in the forest so that the creepers are used as a thread to tie it. He bought a whole bundle. Sanna bought a bundle of it. Mara opened the bundle. Mara is another person which you could see. He opened the bundle while shifting. So while shifting that bundle, opening and shifting that the creepers, so which is supposed to be used as a thread. So he suddenly looked at one of the creepers and scolded Sanna. One of the See, the structure, what you could notice, one of is a verbal structure, and so it should go with noun in a plural form. This is what normally we say that. So when we use the word one of, so we should use, see, one of my friends, one of my teachers, one of my colleagues. See, look at that. So it should go with a noun. So one of should always go with a. One of my pen, no. One of my pens. So one of is a structure which should go like, so it should get the noun as a plural form. So this is what. So what you could notice is that Mara opened the bundle while shifting. He suddenly looked at one of the creepers. So underline those structures in your text. So one of the creepers and scolded, got angry and scold. Whom did he scold? Sanna. What he say? Hey, why did you pluck this, you fool? So he got angry and scolded. Why did you pluck this? This means what is that? The one which he demonstrated there, pointed out, that creeper. When I inquired, I is a writer again here. When I inquired, he said that it was a medicinal creeper. Now, so when the author wanted to know that, why are you scolding him? So then he come to know that. So that was a medicinal creeper. Sanna said that there were plenty of it in the forest. Sanna said that there are not one, there are plenty of such things in the forest. So Mara eagerly said, no, he was eager to know that, and then said that, come, show me where it is. And took Sanna into the forest. So now Mara, Sanna and the writer moved to forest. Out of sheer curiosity, out of that curiosity, I went with him. That is how I got to know about this medicinal creeper. When Sannappa showed the plant, Sanna is a short form of Sannappa, that is what I think. When Sannappa showed the plant, Mara became very active. So he saw that and he became very active. He caught hold of one of the tendrils. So look at that again, one of the tendrils. A verb should always, so the noun should always go in a plural form. So underline those kind of structures, so which commonly we make mistakes. So let us avoid these things. So what he could see when Sannappa showed the plant, Mara became very active. He caught hold of one of the tendrils and tied it to a nearby tree. So he tied to a nearby tree. I was surprised at that. So the author was surprised. So he took that tendrils and tied it to a nearby tree and asked, Mara, why did you tie the creeper to the tree? So that is what I think. Why did you tie the creeper to a tree there? So then Mara, so he replaced like this. That thief, he said, now it will be lying here. So why? Where do you think it will run to? I asked. So why do you think that, why you need to tie it? No, it will not run somewhere else. It will be there only. Oh, you don't know about this creeper. it has been cursed by a sage. The curse is that when someone needs this plant, they shall not find it. So when you want it and search for it, you won't be able to find it for dear life. So that is why when you find it, you must immediately tie to a nearby plant so that it will be lying there, explained Mara. So the Mara had a technique that, why? The reason is very simple, that when you are in need of that, the creeper, so it will be not found. That is a curse given by a sage. That's what the local people believe in. So what is the technique then to protect it and to preserve it then? So the best thing is that you have to tie it to a nearby tree, so that creeper has to be. So this is what a technique they have been adopting. This creeper has small leaves. So now the author in this paragraph keeps explaining the physical appearance of this creeper. This creeper has small leaves resembling, that means similar to beetle leaves, and bears fruits in a bunch like grapes. It has kind of beetle leaves, look like similar to, and a bunch of grapes. You could also see fruit bears, which has a kind of grapes, could also be seen. Immediately after the rain, this plant comes up and flowers very quickly, puts forth flowers and fruits and dies. That's what I think. It is a short-leaved plant. So when you just look into that, author is giving a scientific outlook. So from the other perspective also, that's what you could say, that it blooms it raises during rainy season and lives for a short period. It comes again only in the next rainy season. That's what he wants to say. So in between the two rainy seasons, no one sees this plant. So one cannot find this plant. So that is why. So that is what people normally believed in, that the story. What you could say, that it is cursed by a sage, because it is not seen for most of the years. They probably tie it to a tree nearby so that it can be easily identified and located. So the only thing is that when it gets dried, so noticing that is very difficult, and you could see their physical appearance would be entirely different. So there is no moisture there and it will be completely dried up. So to distinguish this leaf, this plant with the other, so this is what the technique the local people might have used. But Mara's stories are so bizarre. So that is, his stories are bizarre. What you could see, unusual, strange, so which cannot be believed most of the time, that one doesn't know what is true and which is false. So it is very difficult to find out that. It is, the whole stories of Maharaj are bizarre in nature. Which is true, which is false, no, you cannot find. This is not confined only to people like Mara. That's what the author wants to say. It is not confined, it is not limited, it is not only to that person, Mara. The entire system of Indian medicine suffers from this kind of mystification. So what he says is that the whole system of medicines in India, it is not the story of Mara, he wants to say. So of course Mara is one example of that in his vicinity, in his locality. But the entire Indian medicine system, what you could say, Ayurvedic herbal medicine system, is having this mystification. So what is that? So which cannot be understood so easily. That is the mystery. Then, so going to the next para, what he says, in all my wanderings in the forest with Masti, Baira, Appanna, Mara and others, I gleaned many things. So gleaned means obtaining the information with great difficulty, that is glean. Glean, obtaining information with much difficulty. So the author went with other employees of his plantation, namely Masti, Baira, Appanna, Mara and others, and gleaned many things. So gathered information about this medicinal plants and all. Among them were a few things I learnt about some of these plants and herbs. That is what. So among many information, this is what few things he learnt about that. So when you go to the next page, page number 18, what you could notice is now the forests are disappearing. No, he says that. So that was the situation of the past and the present, his writing time. So what he says, that is what his writing time, he calls it as now. That is not the present situation. The forests are disappearing. So there is a lot of deforestation which you could see there. And the people who knew about these things are also leaving us one by one. Note the word living. Leaving us means they are departing. They are moving away. They are dying. So they are taking their last breath. That is what you could say that. So the people who knew about these plants and much about the forests are no more. They are taking their last breath. One must realize, so that is what one needs to realize the things, that if one disappears, the other becomes useless. It is very true. If one disappears, so the other, see what happens is that, so there are two kinds of knowledge, what you could see. The first is what exactly is, to define the thing. The second one is where that knowledge is available. So both are important. If one is gone, the other is useless. If we simply know that, a knowledge, so it is of no use. How it is being used with is also a question, and who is having that is also a question. So if both the things match, then things will go in a proper way. And the same thing, what happens is that we have a rich source of these medicines in the forest, but to identify them as a medicine and all, the human resource which is already there is gone, and it is becoming, what you can say, a wide gap between these two. So if this gap is not bridged properly, so then all the resources is going to be a waste, though we have these resources. That is why he says one disappears, the other becomes useless. If one disappears, the other becomes useless. So please underline these lines. And I am very keen to share the information I have with someone. So this is what, now he wants to share some information with us. Someone should be aware of these things. But whenever I try to discuss the unique properties of these plants, unique property, unique, which is not found anywhere. So this is what a thing, a special kind of thing. It is of its own, that is called uniqueness. So the unique properties of these plants and herbs will be my doctor friend. So he wants to share this with his doctor friend. So, and these medicines and doctor, they are the closely associated people, what you could notice, and it is a right person who can utilize this vast knowledge of medicinal plants is doctor. So he wants to share this information with his doctor friends. So they continue, so they become annoyed. So when he said all these things, they stands for the doctor friends here, they become annoyed. So they get feeling of irritated when he was telling all these things. They call me, so call me an ignoramus, and even squabble with me. So what is that? They call me ignoramus, a man with a less knowledge, no knowledge, a little knowledge. In other way, what you can say, ignoramus. So the author was called ignoramus by the doctors, so having no knowledge, and even some of them squabble. So squabble means quarrel for a petty reason, that is called squabbling. So they squabbled with me. Me stands for here the author. That day, the next para, what happens then? Though Mara, tying up the plant, praised it to the skies, saying that that every inch of it was medicinal. He did not tell me that what extent it cured. So whether he did not want to tell me or simply did not know, I cannot say. I did not force him. Mara spun such an exciting yarn that instead of tying it to the tree, even if he had tied the creeper around his own neck, people were not likely to take him seriously. So, but these stories were marvelous even when they were not true. So, what you could notice in this paragraph is that Mara is, though he is tying up this plant, praised it to the sky. So, what you could notice, praising to the sky. What is praising to the sky? So, appreciating in a grand way. So, what you could say, appreciating in a grand way, that is what we call it as praised it to a sky. Huge appreciation that is being done, appraised, so which he has done. And then another phrase what you could notice while he was doing that, he was praising, how he was praising every inch of this plant, this creeper is medicinal. He was saying in such a way. He did not tell me what exactly it cured, but the pathetic situation is, the contradictory situation is that he did not tell what for this creeper is used. So what it cures, which disease. So the author get confused about it because he did not say. And whether he did not want to tell me or simply did not know. So the reason what he mentions is that no, he did not want to say. There are two options there. He may not have a knowledge of it or he doesn't want to say it. So, but author is not aware of that. So what is the true in that sense? That is why he says, I cannot say. I did not force him. So he did not force also. Mara spun such exciting yarns. Spin a yarn means weaving a story, telling a story. Very interesting stories. That is what he spun a yarn. So telling stories. So he spun a yarn means he tells beautiful stories. That is what spinning the yarn. So in a another way, figuratively, we speak like that. Mara spun such exciting yarns that instead of tying it to a tree, even if he had tied the creeper around his neck, that is what I think, the comparison he gives. He is instead of tying it to the tree, nearby tree, if he tie among his neck, people would not care for it. People would not take him seriously because everybody knows that no, Mara is a good story maker. He keeps on telling story for one or the other reason, and his stories are baseless and his stories are not trustworthy. They have to be enjoyed for a time, laugh and forget. That's what I think. So now, so what you could notice, that is why he says that, but his stories were marvelous. His stories were astonishing. His stories were wonderful. So even so when they were not true. That's what I think. Most of the time, the false and fabricated stories, we listen to it so curiously. We are excited to see such kind of stories. So this is what a human tendency most of the time that may happen. Then what happens in the next? Let us see that one instance the author quotes here. What is that? One day, it seems Mara had gone to the forest to bring some bamboo shoots home. With his own trust through the bamboo came when he was cutting the shoot, he accidentally cut his hand. The sharp sickle had apparently cut an artery and it started bleeding copiously in spurts. Everyone around was alarmed, and someone brought some leaf, pressed it against the wound, and bandaged with a cloth torn from one of their lungis. Notice the word one of. One of their lungis, not one of their lungi. So that is what a thing. So then Mara tied his wounded hand carefully so that it would not shake too much, and spent the and went to the white man. So at Hulihindalu. So for proper dressing and treatment. Hulihindalu is a place, a nearby place where he went to that place. So along with that he tied. So when he got cut his hand, somebody with their help so placed a leaf, and with their lungi, so they bandaged it, and immediately he was taken to the nearby place called Hulihindalu for proper dressing and treatment for medication. So the white man, so that is what a man who is a doctor, so in another way, got out his first aid kit, cotton, medicine, antibiotic powders, etc., opened the bandage and removed the leaf. Surprise! So when he opened it, so look at that, the mark of exclamation. So immediately when he opened that and wanted to nurse the wound, treat that wound, so that to dress it properly, when he opened it, it was a surprise. What is that surprise? So that is being placed in the next paragraph, which you could see that. So there was no blood, no wound. In fact, no sign of any wound having been there. No blood, no wound. So it was miraculously cured. Probably it was plain like as it was previously. Now the white man became angry with Mara, and so in his anger he uttered like this. What is that? You fool, are you joking? He shouted. Mara showed him all the blood on his clothes and body, and cringed before him, saying that he was not lying. So cringed, afraid, and moved back when he shouted. That is called cringing. So, and he showed the blood stains on his clothes, and had it not been cut, how can that blood stains on his dress? So that is what, on his clothes. So that's what a thing. So saying he, what you can say, gave justification to his own action, and that is true. Moving to the next page, page number 19, what you could see is that looking at this instance, that is Mara's, so you wound cured in a miraculous way, that instance, the Englishman believed Mara. He believed, probably, so there is something new, something which I may not be aware of. That is what he felt, and he took the leaf that had been kept on the wound and told Mara. He took it and saw that and told Mara. What did he say? Show me the plant from which you plucked this leaf. I'll give you my entire plantation. See, look at that. See, that's a miraculous thing. So a miracle has happened, and he wanted to know that plant. From that plant he could mint a number of money. So that is why he said that show me that plant, and for that, if you show, I'll give my entire plantation. Mara took him to the forest, and even though they searched for the entire day, from morning to evening, they did not find it. From morning to evening, they did not find that plant which had similar leaves. So they get confused. Similar, that plant is not found there. Now the Englishman thought that Mara really did not want to identify the plant. So he was angry because he thought that Mara was so greedy that even though he had offered his entire estate, he was not satisfied. He was greedy. He wanted more and more. Probably because of that, he is playing game with me. That is what Englishman thought. So he took him out of his, he took out his gun. Take out from that. Take out is a present. took out, as a past form of it, a phrase. So he took out his gun and pointing at Mara said, "If you do not show it to me, I'll shoot you down." That's what I think he said. So now, first he showed property and money and all these things, so that because of that wealth, so he'll show. Now he is threatening for life, so he must show if that is the case. So now Mara was shivering, and he started crying loudly, because the fact is that he did not identify the plant now. So he fell at the Englishman's feet and begged him and said that he really did not know. He did not know what actually happened. I believe the Englishman, now really angry, he said, "Get out," and drove him out. So he got angry and he drove him out. Hearing this story, this is the story, what is that? Mara's hand cutting and curing it miraculously is the story. Hearing that story, I also showed my irritation. I here stands for the writer. He also showed irritation. So after hearing the story from Mara, the author also got irritated. And he said that what he said, yours is a cock and bull story. Cock and bull story. So that means the story which cannot be trusted. There is no truth with the story. Story with no truth is what we call it as cock and bull story. So this is what the people normally say, even in our local language. Kagaka gubakana kate. So this is what we say, that it is such a story which cannot be believed in any way. Totally fabricated. So it is totally fake in all the way. And if you had gone and searched near the bamboo bush where you hurt your hand, that's what he says very trickily. Had you gone to a bamboo bush where you tied it, so where you cut your hand, you would not, so what he says that hurt your hand, would you not have found in the leaf? So would you not have found the leaf there? So near the bamboo only. And the plant, to which he replied, for that he replied with another story. What is that? He replied with another story, that mongoose and the crow call, that is crow patient. So crow with a brown feather, kembuta. So which you could see, these mongoose and crow patient also knew about this plant, and that when they get hunting snakes, if they are bitten by poisonous snakes, they immediately chew this leaf and thus cure themselves. So he says that now he's shifting his attention. So from that, now when he's told that you should have gone to a bamboo tree and then bamboo bush, and then you might have found there, but he says no, even crow patient and the other one, what you could say is that when it got some mongoose, when it got bitten by poisonous snakes, they would also go nearby that and they say. So for each and every statement, he goes on saying and saying. What are the other such interesting things which you could see from the stories of Mara? So the cock and bull stories, you will see it in the next class. And before that, once again, so watch this video along with your text so that you can make a note of it also. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.